The torching method of roofing shingles installation was firstly used in Europe in mountainous regions with heavy snowfalls. However, it gained the greatest popularity in South Asia. In a hot and humid climate, the wooden roof structure either accumulates moisture or dries sharply under the sun. This negatively affects roof durability. Therefore, reinforced concrete or fiber cement boards are widely used as a base for roofing shingles in India. Such decking does not allow the nailing method, so one should use torch-on installation of roofing shingles. It is important to note that roofing shingles in this method are not directly exposed to the flame, but reliably adhere to the melted surface of the underlay membrane. The ability of application of TECHNONICOL roofing shingles by torching to the bitumen membrane is confirmed by laboratory tests of Central Research Institute of Industrial Buildings. In this video, we will show how to do it correctly. For the work, we will need a fur roller with a tray, spatulas, a silicone roller, a drill with a crossbit and galvanized self-tapping screws, a roofing knife, construction gloves, a sealant gun with a sealant, a level, tin snips, a chalk reel, a measuring tape, and a hammer. When carrying out roofing works with torch-on materials, one should use protective goggles and a specialized protective suit. When working with open flame, use fire-resistant gloves. Shoes should have non-slip soles and closed reinforced toe caps. When working at heights, do not forget to use special safety equipment. Before starting the work, it is necessary to set up the equipment, check the integrity of hoses, examine the operability of LPG pressure regulator and the junction's integrity, open the cylinder valve from 1/4 to 1/2 turn and briefly blow out the gas. Ignite the torch with a special lighter and adjust the flame length. To put out the flame of the torch, close the gas supply valve and push the lock trigger. The torching method for installation of roofing shingles is based on the practice of torching of polymer bitumen roll-fed materials. In this system, a special APP-modified bitumen membrane is used as an underlay for roofing shingles. One may use the following types of the decking in torch-on roofing systems: cast-in-place reinforced concrete, cement-bonded particle boards, fiber cement boards. The relative humidity of the surface should not exceed 4%. Before installation, clean the base from debris, dirt, and dust, and if necessary, level the surface. In order to provide reliable adhesion of the underlay membrane to the surface, apply a thin layer of bitumen prime coating by TECHNONICOL. After priming the surface, leave it to dry. The drying time depends on weather conditions during the works and usually does not exceed 12 hours at a temperature of 20 degrees Celsius. To check the condition of the surface, attach a white cloth to the decking. If it does not stick and there are no black stains, then the surface is ready for further work. Even fronton overhangs are reinforced with metal planks. Fix the planks every 12 to 15 centimeters in staggered order. The planks should overlap on each other by 3 to 5 centimeters. Depending on the base type, the planks are fixed with galvanized self-tapping screws or dowel nails. Form the outer and inner corners by joining the planks together. Fix the fronton planks with an overlap on the eave planks. Note, if the roof slope is from 5 to 12 degrees, the fronton planks are installed before torching the underlay membrane to the decking. If the roof slope exceeds 12 degrees, the fronton planks are installed after the torching of the underlay membrane. Before starting the work, measure the roof base and cut the underlay membrane to the required length. This will ease the installation. Begin forming the valley. unroll and align the underlay membrane along the valley center. The width of a roll is 1 meter, which gives 50 centimeters on each slope. Cut the membrane along the eave line, leaving 2 or 3 centimeters from the bend of the eave plank. Before torching, roll one half of the membrane in the direction to the valley center and then torch it with gradual unrolling of the material along the slope. The torch should be oriented directly to the place where the membrane touches the base. It is important to carefully press the material with a silicone roller at the center of the valley. Install the other half of the membrane similarly. Additionally, fix the material in the ridge zone with galvanized self-tapping screws with washers after the torching. The fastening span is 15 centimeters. Touch the underlay membrane on the roof slopes from the bottom upwards. At first, torch the material in the eave zone, then torch the remaining part of the membrane. Direct the flame to the place where the membrane touches the base, uniformly heating the material across the entire width. The pattern on the membrane will indicate when the compound becomes active. It is necessary to control the intensity of the bitumen leaking. It should not exceed 2 or 3 millimeters. After torching, fix the membrane at the ridge zone with galvanized self-tapping screws with washers. The fastening span is 20 centimeters with a 7 to 8 centimeter shift from the edge. The following rows are torched with vertical overlaps of at least 15 centimeters. Horizontal overlaps with a width of 10 centimeters are also additionally fixed with a span of 15 centimeters. Press the places of overlaps with a roller. Walking on hot material during the works is prohibited to avoid damage to the top layer. Additionally, fix the torched membranes in the hip area with self-tapping screws with washers at a distance of 7 to 8 centimeters from the axis of the hip. After the complete cooling of the material, it is necessary to check the quality of all overlaps with a spatula to make sure that they are sealed over the entire seam area. Areas with disturbed integrity should be repaired. In this video, we use a close valley method, which does not require the installation of a valley roll material. At first, mark a line with a chalk reel on the steeper slope at the distance of 20 centimeters from the valley center. For convenience, cut the shingles along this line before installation. Shingles corners coming on the fronton plank are clipped by 2 to 3 centimeters to keep water flowing downhill. Before torching, coat the area of shingles overlap on the fronton plank with mastic TECHNONICOL fixer to the width of 10 centimeters. The thickness of the layer should not exceed 1 millimeter. Align the first shingle to membrane, leaving 1 or 2 centimeters to the edge of the fronton plank. Press one side of the shingle and torch the other side. Important note, during the torching of the shingles, the flame of the torch should be directed only to the underlay membrane and not to the inner side of the shingles. The torching occurs due to the melting of the surface of the bitumen membrane. Thus, the shingle is embedded into the membrane. After torching, press the shingle with the roller. Do not cut the part of the shingle which comes to the opposite slope. The starting shingle at the opposite slope is installed in a similar way. Install shingles on this slope sequentially, from the bottom upwards along the entire length of the valley. In the place of shingles overlap, torch only the upper part where the shingle contacts the underlay membrane. Similarly, install the shingles on the steeper slope while cutting it at a distance of 7 to 8 centimeters from the center of the valley. For convenience, mark the cutting line with a chalk reel in advance. Coat the shingles overlap area with mastic TECHNONICOL fixer to the width of 10 centimeters before torching. The thickness of the layer should not exceed 1 millimeter. One can start the installation of roofing shingles both from the valley and from the edge of the slope. Torching of the following rows of shingles is performed end-to-end to the previously installed ones. Press the lower part of the shingle Turn up the upper part with a spatula and torch, then press it with a roller. When getting to the ridge, do not torch the last row, but cut it in place and fasten with a span of 15 cm using self-tapping screws with washers. To seal the chimney's vent pipes, prepare the cutout of the valley roll material by TECHNONICOL, coat it with mastic fixer and attach, observing the cascading. Torch the cutouts of the valley roll material overlapping the underlay membrane. Coat the joints between the valley roll material and the shingles with mastic fixer. The junctions of the valley roll material with the chimney should be covered with metal flashings and then sealed. Cut the shingles adjacent to the hip, at a distance of 12 cm to each side of the hip axis, and perform the regular torch-on installation. Prepare a 24 cm wide cutout from the underlay membrane for the entire length of the hip, so that it fits the gap tightly. Torch the element and press it with a roller. Then torch hip and ridge shingles to that strip from the bottom upwards, observing the cascading. Remember to direct the flame of the torch to the underlay membrane only. The next shingle should overlap the previous one for 3 to 5 cm. It is necessary to install the ridge vents on the roofs with a slope of more than 12 degrees. Fix the ridge vents to the base with galvanized self-tapping screws of 60 mm length. Cut hip and ridge shingles to the width of the ridge vent and fix them through the vent directly to the base with galvanized self-tapping screws with washers using 4 pieces per element. If the roof slope is less than 12 degrees, the ridge vent is not installed. In this case, torch an additional strip of underlay membrane on the ridge, followed by torching of hip and ridge shingles on the same principles as on the hips. For installation of penetration elements on the roof, it is necessary to provide through holes in advance during the construction of the decking. After roofing shingles application, install the pass-through component by TECHNONICOL, which serves as the base for the final roofing outlet, selected depending on the functionality. It is recommended to use the pipe-type vent for ventilation of the subroof space when the roof slope is less than 12 degrees. Advantages of the torching method for roofing shingles installation over the traditional method of mechanical fixation by far exceed its labor intensity. This method is suitable for roofs with a minor slope, starting from 5 degrees. It possesses increased water tightness and expands the scope of application of the roofing shingles by TECHNONICOL on such types of decking as fiber cement boards, cement-bonded particle boards, and cast-in-place reinforced concrete.